Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Africans in Diaspora on Premier FM 93.5. I'm Chinelo Obidike. Okay, I've not been around and the usual suspects, Adeayo and Stephen, are away today, so I'm kind of standing in for them. On this program, we usually speak with Africans who are making the continent and the country proud in diaspora, and today will be no different. I have the pleasure of hosting Bolebi Solomon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chinelo.
Yeah,
glad to be here.
Good to have
Thank
you
for
with
having
us.
me.
You are most welcome. It's a pleasure to have you with us. Let's go right into it. How does being in the diaspora influence your connection to Nigeria and your writing?
Well, we, it is, we carry a lot of identity from where we're coming from. So, being in a foreign land for us, it's, and being away from home, what I try to do is stay true to my roots.
Okay.
Make sure that your children and my family are well connected to family, and because of that, because we carry a lot of history, that has also influenced my poetry and writing, because we carry a lot of life experiences that people here, where I'm based in the UK, I'm not quite familiar with. So it's about sharing where we've come from and how we've made it through, and how we're navigating life here despite being separated from our roots.
Okay.
So it really influenced the way I write, because the language also comes into play, because we have layers and layers of, our mother tongue. We have our tribal language. We have Pidgin English, which I spoke very well, in our community growing up. So that influenced the way I write, because I have to look at it from different angles. I've been in the UK over 20 years. So I see myself as half and half, half Nigerian, half British.
Okay.
And so that's influenced me. So my writing is coming from that angle of being a diaspora and knowing what it means to be separated from your loved ones, and just trying to get by, really.
Okay. Growing up in Nigeria and living in England, you've already mentioned seeing it from half and half, being in the diaspora and still being connected to your roots here. How have you been able to navigate the intersection of both cultures in your writing?
The intersection, I would say, because obviously we go back and forth.
Yeah.
This is where I am. This is home for me, and Nigeria is also home for me. So I embrace both.
Okay.
I would say in my bones, I am quite diverse. So the intersection you will find, woven into my story, because obviously I have that over 2 decades of life experience, and also over 2 decades here. So it's kind of equal in terms of life experience, although the one before, the former would be, but it's to the way I socialize with my friends, the way I welcome people into my home, the food, for instance, that we cook to entertain people. When we cook as Nigerians, we cook for the whole village.
Yeah.
So there are different things that come into play in the way I interact with my current community, because obviously I carry a lot of history that is not from here. So I've been quite lucky to align myself with people that are quite curious about where I'm from.
Okay.
And it's about bringing that into the surface and not, leaving it behind.
Your writing, it explores themes of memory, migration, and identity. How do these experiences as an Anglo-Nigerian shape your perspective on these themes?
Oh, well, these are lived experiences, so it will shape my perspective, because I have firsthand, experience of everything. When I see stories about immigrants, for instance, even on the news, and when I mean immigrants, I mean generally just someone finding a safe place or somewhere to make a living. I know that because I lived it. I would have come in with the hope of making something of myself, and that is what every immigrant that would want to leave their home country to travel abroad, wherever that is. So I have first experience of that, and that shapes the way I look at every human being that I come across, especially when someone is far away from home. You identify with the story straight away. You just know that it is hard. You are just doing the best you can, and you come into a place where the weather is not quite friendly. The language, you're trying to learn the language if you're not an English speaker. For us in Nigeria, obviously we speak English, so it's quite, easy for us to navigate and interact and make friends. But when you don't have that language barrier, it can limit you on how you explore your new environment. So I always look at things from different perspective. It's not just, when I meet an immigrant, I've met really lovely people who, share their own perspective of being born here and raised here and haven't not been anywhere else. Yeah. So their perspective too matter because they too have stories to share. So that is where I come in terms of my own perspective, because I have quite diverse experiences. Yeah. I do my best to stay at the center to really listen to people and to hear what they have to say.
For most authors or writers, writing is an act of self-discovery. So what did you discover or uncover about yourself through your debut memoir, All of Us?
Wow, I uncovered a lot, and I could spend all day telling you about what I uncovered or discovered.
Okay, just tell us some.
I would say I am still going through the journey.
Okay.
Of really taking in, the experiences that we had to navigate to become who we are today.
Okay.
There is a big one that I would sit with for, almost every day since I started this journey of All of Us, is about the legacy that we're given from birth.
Okay.
That legacy defines us, except you're extremely lucky. And luck is not common. So the legacy of what you're born into, your environment, the family dynamics, the availability of resources, privileges as well. So if you're born with deficits, those things would prop up in your life, and if you are not guided properly, that could easily define you for life. So that is the big one. It is about legacy, what we are born into. So that's where I come in when I'm here, when I see how it takes us a long time for us to find our footing in a foreign land, because we are coming in already with some deficits and we're trying to get by, really. And it could take you decades to claw yourself back to level 1. And while you're doing that, the people, your peers, similarly that were born here, might be on level 5, but you've been spending 10 years trying to get to level 1 because you were already formed where you're coming from. So you're trying to unlearn things and build yourself to where you need to be.
All of us grew from poetry. How did your approach to writing change as you worked on your memoir?
When I wrote my first poem, I didn't know what I was writing. I didn't even know it was a poem.
Okay.
I wrote it exactly as I reflected on it, and I put it down and I shared it. And the comments I got was, "Oh, this might be a poem." I was like, "Okay, is this a poem?" So I kept going. But when I started my memoir, I did not know that memory could revisit you in waves. And when I totally understood that these memories are always there, you just have to be ready to surrender, which was what I did. And as I went deeper, I surrendered, and I let the words that I just couldn't speak or say when I was young come through me and down on paper. And I did my best. Initially, I was worried. I was editing myself. I was going back and forth. I was doing, I can't say this, I can't say that. My English is not that polished enough in this area. I was looking at all that, and I was like, no. You just need to let it go and just put it down. And then when I did that, I found myself just going and writing it the way it came through me.
Okay.
So it's about surrendering, and I've learned over time to just surrender.
What do you think is a common misconception about Anglo-Nigerians or Nigerians in the diaspora? And what can be done to change that?
You mean in Nigeria or here?
Even over there especially.
There isn't much negativity about being an Anglo-Nigerian.
Okay.
What I would say is, I think because we do get to make the news because of negative, things happening in Nigeria.
Okay.
And it filters through here because we feel it. We know that things could be better.
Yeah.
So those would come in the limelight and disappear. So it depends on what is going on. And again, the other thing we need to consider is that it depends on what level you are being an Anglo-Nigerian, because, class also comes into play. There are people that you interact with. If you're at some level, say be it middle class, for instance, negativity, you don't get it as much. But if you are still trying to survive and, your social circle and yourself, you are still in that social working class, group, that also comes with its own complexities, because obviously you're fighting for, what would I say now? Everyone that you're surrounded with are all fighting to survive, even the locals here. So that negativity could be stronger around that group. So it's different. It depends on where you find yourself. Now, back home in Nigeria, being an Anglo-Nigerian, I think it's just that identity, because when we visit home, we've been away so long that it's just you don't know if you can still fit in. You get the warm welcome.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, and it's just that everything becomes so glaring that you're like, oh, okay, this hasn't changed, and then you just know that, oh, this is where I'm from, but things haven't changed. So it's just that, should I say, melancholy. You're just wishing that things could be better, so that when you come home, the people that you've left behind are in a much better state.
All right,
So I don't know if I answered your question.
You did. You answered. It's still Africans in Diaspora on Premier FM 93.5. We've been speaking with writer and author Bolu B. Solomon. We'll take a break now and listen to some music, and we'll be right back. It's still Africans in Diaspora on Premier FM 93.5, and we have with us Bolu B. Solomon, an author and writer. Hello, Bolu B. Are you still there?
I'm still here.
Okay, great.
Still here, Thank
you. You're welcome. So, Ijaw heritage and the rhythms of Port Harcourt influence your work. How do you weave these elements into your storytelling?
Oh, I had to, in my book, I had to capture the environment where I grew up in Port Harcourt. Mentioned a few, prominent places where I went to school, the streets of Port Harcourt, in Job. Just everything, what childhood was like, just playing in the open and not caring about, that safety element. We all grew up with that, without thinking about anything at all. And generally, we were all safe. So that is one thing that we miss here, because your kid, you have to keep your eye on your child all the time. You're, as a parent, you're on the edge. You want to make sure that they're okay wherever they're playing.
Yeah.
But back home is different, because you can just go out and play and go into someone's room and sit down and go different places. And so I had to weave that in. And also my village, where I'm actually from, my tribal village, what it was like visiting there. And all the mothers who basically just looked out for you, because in Nigeria, you're everybody's kid. And it takes a village to raise a child. Indeed. Yeah. So which is quite different. So I had to go deeper to weave that into my book, because I am a mom now, and I know how it is to raise children in England. Yeah, so it comes through via poetry as well. So the book would have part poetry and part narrative. So that's the way I weaved the story through, from the beginning up to the end of the book.
You say writing is not performance, it is revelation. Can you expatiate on that?
Oh, wow. It is. When I started, I did not know what I was doing, because I didn't call it writing. I still try not to call myself a writer, but I'm embracing it. It is surprising what you will find when you write something about reflecting yourself and write something. I did not grow up journaling. I don't know about you, but journaling wasn't something that I knew that people did. When you sit down, you have a journal and a pen and you talk about real, different things. Nothing like that. And I've never written before prior to 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's my first time. So basically, I surrendered myself to whatever came out of me, and it became a revelation. And things were coming out of me, and the poetry that I would write most of the time are not performance poetry. It's just my thoughts coming out of me, and I put it down and I look at it and I say, okay, maybe I could read this somewhere and just get the reaction, and then I would do it, and then people will go, oh wow, that really spoke to me. So it is revealing itself every day. Anytime I surrender to a page, something comes out of me. And it tells me whatever I needed to know at that time, or if I'm struggling with anything, it just calms me. And I also learn about myself writing it.
What do you hope the reader will take away from all of us?
That we all have a story to tell. We're all interesting. Our lives, it doesn't matter. I've met people who would say, I've been, I don't know if my life is that interesting to write a memoir. And I say, what do you mean? Everyone's life is interesting. It doesn't have to be dramatic. We'll all learn from each other. We will be surprised. Things that are quite familiar, even in the slums of Port Harcourt and here in England, we are all alike than we think we are. So everyone deserves to tell the story.
Age doesn't, regardless of age.
Oh yes, regardless of age. I have friends who are over 70, and to think that most of the people here that I've interacted with will have a journal or two about things, about their growing up, about different things, motherhood, and it's just there, closed up, locked up. It doesn't have to be shared with the public. You can write it and just keep it. Like what I'm doing now is not just for me. For my children, because I want my children to know about where their mother came from.
So what's next for you? Do you have any upcoming projects or themes you're exploring?
At the moment, I am going to launch an event. I'm hosting an event where in West Yorkshire to bring a lot of storytellers together. And that's interesting because that's keeping me busy. So that would happen in May. And I have quite about 12 creatives coming together, both singers, poets and all. So once that's done, the book gets published first week of August. My next project might be to look at a poetry book of collection of my poems. So that will be a few months down the line. So there are things happening, off the back of all of us.
So are you a poet or a writer, or you are both? What would you?
I'm both.
How would you? Okay, great.
I'm both.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. It's been nice speaking with you. Thank you very much for honoring our invitation.
Thank you, Chinelo. Lovely speaking with you.
Same
and if
here.
you want to tell your viewers to, if they need to find me, I'm
Okay,
on
yes,
Instagram.
okay. What's
The
your
Anglo
handle?
Nigerian Mom.
Okay, the Anglo-Nigerian Mom. Is that MUM or MOM?
MUM.
Okay, the Anglo-Nigerian Mom.
Yeah.
What about, are you on Facebook or Instagram is your main social media?
Instagram is my main social. Facebook, I'm still there as the Anglo-Nigerian
Okay,
Mom.
okay.
So they can still find me. So
Okay,
if they
great.
type in even my name would come up as the Anglo-Nigerian Mom.
We'll look for you.
And I think I'm the only Anglo-Nigerian Mom
Okay,
on Instagram
okay.
now. Touch wood.
All right.
So yes.
The Anglo-Nigerian
Thank
Mom
you.
on Instagram.
Yes.
Okay,
On
great.
Instagram.
All right. Thank you very much, Boluibi Solomon.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
You are very welcome. And that's the package of Africans in Diaspora this week on Premier FM 93.5. Many thanks to the producer, Shegun Ogunjobi. I had the pleasure of hosting Boluibi Solomon, a poet and writer based in the United Kingdom. Many thanks to Peace Ode, who also held it down on the console. I am Chinelo Obidike. Africans in Diaspora returns next week on Premier FM 93.5. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.